Mo Hustle. Glad to have you on Camp Capone News.
Yes, sir. I appreciate you for having me.
Let's get into SPM a little bit, man. Can you kind of tell everybody, how you met him
Right.
and, kind of that whole story and everything?
All right, so that's where it goes. After Agony Life, traveling through the South, they see me on MySpace. And they say, what the hell are you doing on this road? Like, what are you doing out there? I see you jumping everywhere. What are you doing? And it was Carolyn Rodriguez. She
Singer. She was a singer with Dope House, right?
She was a singer. She was wife at one point, or I don't know how all that stuff, but that's her story to tell. But she seen me, and she's like, well, shit. I said, I'm out here trapping with this music. That's what I'm doing.
So sorry. One quick question: was SPM already in jail at
He
this
was
time?
already in jail. Yeah.
Okay, so now, did you already have an opinion of what, for you to even think to
Right.
even start working with him, like, what did you hear about him and what was the word in the streets?
Okay, at that point, I knew the man was incarcerated, but all I seen was all the big legends that I looked up to. The whole Dope House records, the Baby Bash, the Juan Gotti. Bro, I would see Chingo Bling with the movement. I would see everybody at that moment. It was a big moment, bro, for Houston and the Latin rap period for everybody around that time. And so I was a fan of them. These are my idols that I grew up listening to, right? So they screaming free SPM, the movement, and I'm like, hey, these people are standing for something here. This man's innocent, right? I mean, what else? Why would so many people like back it if he's not innocent, right?
I hear you. What year? You know what year this was?
Man, I can't even tell you the year, man. It's in MySpace days for sure, though.
2005?
Something like that. What do you think, Cosmo?
7?
2004, 2005, he says. So somewhere around there. He been there with me the whole damn time. But yeah, so I'm a fan. I'm coming in. I was doing the shit for the Screwed Up Click and the Swisher House and the ABN and I was pushing the stuff with Agony Life, like pushing those names that were the next to blow up. You know what I mean? Out of H-Town. One day you're going to see us on BET and MTV. And then, but I had never experienced the Mexican market of it. It was just the black market, the South. Louisiana, Alabama, Mississippi, Florida. Then she exposed me to the Mexican market, right? And so that's when I jumped in and I was like, damn, okay, this is what I've been missing, because they're doing shows, and before we were just putting CDs in the stores in the street grind. So I had what they didn't have and they had what I didn't have, so it kind of came together. And I got to see a whole other side, because Dope House was already popping, you know what I mean? Swish House was barely trying to find its name, you know what I mean? Screwed Up Click was already big, ESG and all that stuff, So, but I'm looking at it as like a fan, like, oh, hell yeah, I'm down to ride with Dope House. Let me go see what y'all got going. And I rode with her. And it was the other side of the business. So
what were the rumors, though, that you were hearing on the streets? Like, what did you actually hear happened or that he got set up?
I didn't really hear none of that. The number one question was, when is SPM getting out of jail? And the fans didn't even know. The fans were more like, I'm going to beat that bitch's ass. I'm going to kill that bitch that got him locked up. The people were always tripping, you know what I mean? But I'll be like, damn, these people are for real out here. You know what I mean? Like, they die hard SPM out here, you know what I mean? So
all this time you're thinking that he's innocent, he's been framed, or he's been set up.
But that's what they said. That's what they said. They said this is what they preach to the people. And when he comes live, he goes live and he gets the audience to listen, and they're happy to listen to this man speak at that time, And
wait, hold on. How were they doing that? What do you mean he was live?
Well, like, they'll put on a speaker so everybody can hear that shit. You know what I'm saying?
What, like at a concert?
Yeah, or like a gathering or whatever, and say, okay, well, we got SPM live, and everybody would get excited to gather up and hear what he had to say. And he would say shit like, they're against me because they wanted me to push a voting agenda. You know what I mean? I'm one of the most powerful Mexicans, so since I didn't want to be on their team. All of this shit, you know what I mean? Like, so we're like, damn, he got done wrong, you know what I mean? Because he didn't want to stand on their side. This is like, there's so many different angles that he would preach to the people. He would have it all set up, man, you know what I mean? He would have it all set up. You got to understand, this guy, he strategizes everything before he comes forward and talks to the people, you know what I mean? I didn't know that though then. Then I was just like listening. I was just like, okay, this is crazy. This is dope. We get to listen to South Park Mexican right here, bro. You know what I mean? Like, this is cool. And then we get to be around all the big artists. You're like, yeah, I'm down to go, on the road with you guys and sell these CDs and merchandise and make a profit so I can feed my family at the end of the day too. You know what I mean? So, it was always like a march, man. It was always a big thing for him, for everyone to stand up for him so people can know he's innocent, basically.
Okay, so you're in there, you know what I'm saying, you believe he's innocent. What is it like? What's that first conversation? How do you guys actually become friends?
Well, I just ended up going on the road, man, blood, sweat, and tears with the artists. It wasn't even about SPM. It took years for him to even acknowledge what I was, because you got to understand, some of these artists ain't at the dope house every day. People get that confused a lot. They think these artists and producers are at the dope house all day, and that's not the way it is. He got other people running the office, you know what I mean? We're out here trying to pay our bills. We're out here in the public. We're out here with the people. And that's why this means so much to me, because, I went from a street salesman and a fan and all that to becoming the person I am today. I'm an event coordinator. I have a platform for artists to go on the road and build relationships with people. And I've helped even major artists, get to different markets. So I'm a leader out here, you know what I mean? And I'll be damned if I mislead these people, That's why I had to come. As soon as I heard what I heard, I wanted that to be known. Like, how am I going to come to the public? And it's like this, man. Put yourself in my position. You riding for 15 years with somebody. You pro SPM. When I say free, you say Los or whatever. Free Los or free SPM. When I say free, you say SPM. Free SPM. Free SPM. Every city. You know what I mean? So to me, that means something. It don't mean nothing to him. He don't care what the fans go through. He don't care what these artists go through. He don't care what these producers go through. He cares about self. You know what I mean?
Okay, so, for me, my experience, man, let me give you a little backstory. I used to rap. So I used to be on the road a lot. I hung around a lot of different rappers, I met a lot of different rappers from Texas, obviously a lot of dudes from Cali.
Right.
And we always used to hear this same story. He's innocent.
There you go.
He got set up, man. He was being with his best friend's wife. His best friend is in prison. Right. And she tried to extort him for a bunch of money.
I heard that too.
And he wasn't going to pay her any money. So she made up these wild accusations because I guess their daughters were around the same age. So that happens, you know what I'm saying? And for me, bro, like, I know when it comes to pedophiles, like, nobody ever admits they're a pedophile.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Everybody always lies. So I was always, like, skeptic of these stories, and then years later, the truth comes out, and I find out he ain't even in jail for that shit. All these people are telling this crazy story about SPM, and this story, this situation, I don't know if the situation happened, but that is not even why he's in jail. He's in jail for getting a 13-year-old pregnant.
Yeah.
So at what point did you learn the truth about him and believe the truth and start to switch to the right side?
So what brought me to the light was probably a year ago when everybody in Cali was making this stand, and me, I felt like, damn, I gotta defend this shit even more because these motherfuckers is going off, and I felt like we were being attacked. I didn't feel like SPM was being attacked because they're saying Dope House Records, and people don't understand what that is. This is a bunch of artists, this is a bunch of producers, this is a bunch of legacies, a bunch of histories. It means a lot to the people. It's not just SPM out here. Dope House Records is every individual artist has their own following and the people that love them. And when they come together, they bring the people together. You know what I'm saying? with SPM behind all the shit. But SPM don't have to build these relationships. We build these. You know what I mean? We build these relationships with these people. You know? So when I seen like Capone jumping out, right? And I'm going off on Capone, like I was new to the YouTube world type shit. Like, yeah, I've searched videos, but not like all these podcasters and all this crazy shit right now. So Capone's going off. I'm defending him because really, and I'm still not with Capone over it, you know, because the way he came at it. And I did some research on him and I seen the way he was doing that to people. And I didn't like the way that they did Carolyn because I felt like Dope House was bullying Carolyn. Capone was bullying Carolyn and she's in the middle of the fire. And I felt that was foul because now you're bullying a woman, you know what I mean? So that's why I jumped out and said, hey, both of you motherfuckers got to stop this shit. And this guy, he was running around like a goofball, Mr. Capone, with that other dude, Lazy Dub. And I'm like, y'all making a whole circus out of this shit. Some people are like, well, why you in there to dig deeper? Motherfucker, we out here trying to sell CDs to pay rent. Ain't nobody on no shit trying to dig deep on that shit. But when Capone brought it to the light, I started running into other podcasts like the American Cholo dude, right? And then he had pulled out the whole paperwork. So about a year ago now, I found that, and I'm like, damn, they're going, these are documents, you know? And we're like, what? Bro, I don't go to the courthouse trying to pull no paperwork and all this shit, you know what I mean? Come on, bro, we street people over here, you know what I mean? We don't, bro, I stay as far away from the police system as I can. I've been in it in CPS all my life, you know what I mean? They damaged my life. You think I want to be around a police officer? I ain't got nothing against police officers, but I just felt that on my life, you know what I mean? Like, hey, I'm trying to dodge all that shit. I'm trying to be a good human being out here. I'm trying to pay my rent with this product, with CDs and all this. When I seen that American Cholo dude, he started breaking it down. And when I first seen it, I didn't even go through with all of it, but I seen a little bit of it. I'm like, damn. So this is why people are getting crazy out here, you know? But people wanted to see Capone be destroyed too because he's like this gimmick dude. He's always clout chasing. And that's clout chasing. Don't mistake it what I'm doing with what they doing out here and say I'm clout chasing because I'm living this. He out here trying to find a reason to make headlines. There's a big difference, you know what I mean?
You see the truth, you see the paperwork, man.
No. Oh, okay, so I still didn't see that, right? Like I seen a little bit, but I'm like, okay, these guys are trying to expose this man. And later on, you know, we got to actually meet JD. I didn't know what, you know, how old his mom was. I didn't get on into them details, you know what I mean? This man's a grown man. He's 30 years old now, you feel me? He's going bald and shit, you know what I mean? Like, so I'm like, damn, you know, I'm gonna get straight to the point.
So hold on, JD is SPM's son, right? The one that, the one from
Jill, it's his mother.
The 13-year-old.
But this is another thing, is they try to debunk that whole thing and say Jill was a stripper, right? And that made it an excuse. She was at the strip club. Y'all heard that shit? She was at the strip club. And she was underage, you know, but that gives it an excuse with her. Well, now, I talked to him like 2 weeks ago, or a week and a half, 2 weeks ago, and he tells me on the phone, he says, I'm about to come out with the real truth. See, now this is what got me, right? This is what
you talked to SPM or JD?
Yeah. So he wanted me to SPM. He wanted me to be the event coordinator. Because I've been putting shows together with him for a couple of years with the birthday bashes. So I'm the event coordinator. I'm the DJ. I organize a lot of shit, get the porta potties, get the food trucks, get all these people lined up. I get all the artists that follow me to come, you know, perform and all that shit. You know what I mean? This is what I do now. I'm an event coordinator, right? So he had me in there. He's like, hey, we're going to create the Day of Unity. So while I'm discussing shit with him, you know, he goes, I brought up Filetto. I said, man, why you treating Filetto like this about these drug tests, bro? What the going on? You know, and he's like, well, Filetto ain't got no numbers. He's not relevant. He can't be a part of Day of Unity. You know, he starts like shitting on him. And I'm like, bro, what do you mean? You just had his birthday party there. Everybody came for us. You know what I mean? Like, it was a great turnout. How do you shit on this man when you're talking about the Day of Unity? right? You're preaching women empowerment, day of unity, people coming together, all this good shit. And then, but you're going to throw your boy out and say that he don't got enough numbers. And I thought that was foul. So I let him know. I said, you need to call Filetto right now and you need to fix this problem. You know what I mean? And he told me, and right before I hung up, I said, make sure you call Filetto right now and resolve that problem with that man, because I don't like the way you treated him. He's like your brother. So why are you going to treat this man like that? You know what I mean? So before we hung up, he says, man, everybody's just checking themselves off the list. You know what I mean? All these people, you know, are checking themselves. When I come out, I'm going to be the biggest person ever. You know what I mean? I'm going to be the biggest. And I'm going to come out with the real truth. And I was like, what's the truth? What are you talking about? He says, the real truth is that her mom told me she was 17. So he made up another little ass lie, right? And said that her mom basically told him she was 17, it was okay. But then he made another story which creeped me out. He said, he verified the story that we've been hearing, that he went to the school, right? And picked her up and dropped her off kind of shit. And I'm like, whoa, you know? But his excuse is he didn't drop her off at the front, so he didn't know it was a middle school. He dropped her off in the back, so he couldn't see the sign, right? That's the story he's about to give everyone, right? And I said, man, you gotta be shitting me, right? And then so, all of this stuff is happening. I'm in the middle of event coordinating. Filetto gets fired. I Am Lopez been coming over here with Losi, and they've been giving good energy, man. You got to understand, these people, like, I haven't seen nothing like them in 10 years. Somebody that, I mean, artists that are excited, happy, you know, running them tracks, you know, like, bam, we're going to knock out an album, you know, like, we're boom, 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 blowing it up, man. And to see everybody so excited at the Dope House, and the fans and the friends and everybody just like, man, who is this I Am Lopez chick and this Losi guy? Their energy's out the roof, you know? And, you know, and it hurts me, man, because, like, that's like the good, you know? That's like the people that are still green and not knowing that this is a crazy business. You know what I mean? And, you know, basically, they screwed her over behind her back, you know, and that's her story to tell. I'm going to let her come on with you, not today, but when we set it up, and I'm going to let her speak her truth on that shit, because there's so many questions for the fans, and the fans grab whatever you throw out here and they try to make it to where they're right to stand with SPM. It's all about SPM. It's a cult following, man. This is like some Charles Manson type shit, but this for the Mexicans, you know, like, he got the cult following. He's going to manipulate all these people to believe whatever he wants them to believe. And they're standing with that shit, you know?
Okay, so for the record, the mom's not a stripper, never was a stripper.
No, she wasn't.
And he did pick her up.
No, hold on. I got, from what they say, is that she became a stripper later on, after she had the baby and all that, years after. So that's where he came up with that story, that she was a stripper, and led everybody to believe that she was a stripper at that damn age. You know what I mean? So that's, first of all. And I'm like, man, you know, and that's a hard pill to swallow, because we've been pushing this man forever. And I'm like, you know, I got to get this out to the public. And I'm telling Filetto, I'm the one who has to go out to these streets, bro, and deal with these people city to city. So I'll be damned if I mislead these people, you know, with these guys. But, so from there, we were going to come out, man, and just, you know, strategize it at least, because this guy, he strategizes everything he comes out with, you know? And so we can't give everybody everything right off the back, because he's going to come with some other shit, like the shit he pulled last night. You know, he swayed his whole story about I Am Lopez, and then try to make himself sound like, you know, he's in the right and all this, and he didn't know nothing. Oh, my God, you know, I didn't know this. Like a third grader, you know? How many deals have you sat at the table and signed? How many albums, you know, have you gotten a contract for with major labels? Don't sit here and act like you don't know shit, like you're green, like you didn't know what the did. You don't act like you didn't know that you had to sit this artist at the table on her own album. You know, so they're all gonna have to tell their truth. All them guys that were behind the scene doing dealings without her, and you know, and it ruins me, bro, because
Well, let's get in before we get into that. Let's get into there's some new allegations that are supposed to be hitting the internet or supposed to be coming out soon.
well, yeah, man, and you know, and I wanted to give you this, man, because I ain't gonna put it on just any podcast, and I ain't just gonna put it on my podcast and shit. But I had to come to you and get on a bigger platform. So when I came forward, that video you seen where I said, man, you know what? It was all built up, and I feel the only thing I did wrong with that video was I should have put it in order. I should have said, this is the allegations right now, you know, that's making me say this shit. Then the Filetto thing, and then the I Am Lopez thing. But since I was pissed off because I had a couple phone calls that day, I was already pissed off, you know what I mean, by explaining it to other people. So I just turned the camera on, and I just ran with whatever I came with first. But I had to get this shit off my chest because everybody's energies, I'm like everybody, counselor, or what would you call that? Like, everybody gives me their energies. Man, this is what's going on. Damn, that one over here. This artist over there. The guy, you know, and I'm having to take everybody's energy. And so I felt like a big, bro, it was my son's birthday the other day. And he took me on a fishing trip. He spent $600 on the boat. And the whole time I'm there, I'm having to defend myself from some dude doing some old sexual cartoon characters of me and shit like this, and throwing it out there to the world because he's trying to defend SPM. So I'm going against a pedophile, and you're going to draw some pedophile ass shit, you know, or some sexual shit. You know, to me, I'm in the boat. I can't even focus on what the hell's going on. I'm trying to defend myself to people because it just hit me like a ton of bricks, you know? So after that fishing trip, pretty much pissed off because you ruined my day. And so now I'm about to, instead of strategizing, I'm coming clear because these people got to know what the hell's going on. And they got to know now because people are scrambling shit and grabbing shit and, you know, twisting shit and making it appear like something it's not. So I got to come say this, you know. So I stepped up and I said what I said. When I said that.
Well, what is it? What is it? What's the allegations?
Well, the whole thing about his mom wasn't a stripper, the shit he had just told me not even 2 weeks ago, right? That her mother said she was 17, so it was okay for him, and he was dropping off the kid at the back of the school. You know, that he didn't know what that middle school was. So that right there alone was like, what? You're a twisted, sick bastard. And, you know, and the Filetto, I spoke up for Filetto because, you know, I'm like that. You know what I mean? You're not going to be treating my brother like that. And I spoke up for I Am Lopez because they did her dirty. And the people got to know this, that this guy's a sick, twisted, manipulative, narcissist motherfucker. You know what I mean? And that was the point of my video, right? And so when I posted the video, a fan in the comments, she says, well, I was 13. I'm like 40 now, but I was 13. And he picked me up from school when I slept with him. And when I seen that, in my mind, I'm thinking, this sick bastard did it over here in middle school. He did it over her at her middle school. You just a sick bastard, bro. And then if, you know, now that y'all see the paperwork, there's people that came forward that kind of got dismissed. He didn't get charged for those people because they couldn't find no solid evidence or whatever, you know. But all of our lives, well, like not all of our lives, but the 20 years or 15 years.
Did you talk to that new girl?
Well, I did. I asked her, you know, I asked her who, you know, how the f did this happen? She's the one who told me. She said, I went to AAMA middle school, you know, and I went and looked it up, and it's what do you call that kind of school? What is it? Charter school. That's what it is. And so I was like, wow, you know, and it's a middle school at that. You know, when we think about these charges, man, we don't think about.
Go into that a little bit more.
Yeah.
Well, what all did she tell you?
Well, that's what she told me. That's what she told me. She said, you know.
Were they hooking up a long time? Like how did did she say how they met?
She didn't
like,
say all that. She didn't say all that, but she felt like, you know, she was being taken advantage of by him because she was a fan of him, and she couldn't believe that he gave her the time of day, basically, because she was a fan, you know, like, so she was like a groupie, like, damn, you know, I'm gonna run with it, you know. And he knew her age because he dropped her off at school, you know. So anyway, she said now that she's grown, she wanted to talk about it or whatever because she's seeing everybody come forward. And when I seen that, it just blew my mind, bro. Like, how do you fight two underage girls and you're picking them up at school, dog? You know, it's one thing to have one and people to believe this or that, but to have two, man, you know. And I'm just like, man, this is a sad thing, man. And, you know, I couldn't even believe it, man, for this last week. And then you see some other Texas OGs come up. One guy said, you know, and I don't want to put his name out there, he going to have to come up and say whatever he going to have to say if he wants to. You know, he don't have to. But he said he disconnected with him back in the day because he seen him with a young girl, and the little girl had kids' shoes on, and they're like little girl shoes. You know, and they clowned the fuck out of him over that because he couldn't get a grown woman. And that's when he said he disassociated himself from him. And then when I made this post, another guy, Sin, he's part of, you know, he's an artist from some of the legendary groups and shit, but he said, man, you know, I don't know about that, but I know this. You know, like, he's just like, I know that for a fact he was out with young girls. And so, man, it's been a rough 2 weeks, man. All of this shit, bam. You know, I'm like, wow. You know, and I feel like I've been deceived, man. You know, 15 years, we out here marching and preaching to these people that you're innocent. And all of this stuff comes to the light, man, you know. All this stuff comes to the light, man. And it's a hard pill to swallow for some, for the fans and the people, like even yourself, that you were a fan of this shit, and then you were led to believe a certain thing, and you know, you even said it yourself, like, hey, you know, you've been deceived, bro. You know what I mean? You've been deceived at the end of the day. And then my biggest thing is his family and everybody saying he's narcissist and all this kind of shit. And I don't ever use these words, man, you know.
I guess his sister has been going off on him.
His sister been going off left and right. She told me herself, and I have some stuff on her, man, and she just told me straight up, like, listen, you don't see the difference in me now? I've let that shit go. Once I got fired, I let that shit go, you know? And so she's going against everything that he stands for, and anybody that says he's a chomo, she'll go and heart it, you know? She's speaking out right now, and she was one of the first people that were leading everybody. She was like the manager down there for many years. She was the one that we followed, you know? So, you know, if his family standing, she would say, and we went and we marched to the front steps of the city hall or whatever, the city hall in Houston, from the dope house to the courthouse. We marched, all the people, with flags and free SPM, and y'all can look at the footage online. And she stood on those steps, and with me and Low G and all the Dope House family, man. We stood up there proud to stand up for this man, and hopefully they release this man. And we yelled it, man, free SPM, while we marched in the streets, bro. So how do you think I feel? I'm like, I've been deceived, but you got me as a leader out here deceiving these people. You know, and God don't like ugly, bro. So I have to come and speak my shit from what I don't know what the people that were around him before my time, because they were there when he was in the free world. But that's their story to tell. It's not mine, because I don't know nothing about that. All I know is what Mo Hustle been through and what Mo Hustle stood for and marched for and led people to believe, because that's what I believed. You know what I mean? So what do you call that? Is that called deceiving people?
Yes, that would definitely be deceiving people.
Okay. Now another thing, a word came to me, and I never use this word. I rarely hear it, and it just came to my mind. And the word was coward. Okay. And so I said, what the is a coward? Let me look up the definition. I pulled out Google. What is a coward? And a coward is somebody that knows stuff, but they're afraid to speak out. You know what I mean? That makes a coward. And so I said, wow, man, I can't be no coward when it comes to this shit. You know, and people say I'm clout chasing, right? But let me tell you something. I stood in the front lines, okay? I went against Capone when nobody did, right? Okay? I flew to California and got on Tony A's podcast. I came to LA. You know what I mean? That, you know, everybody says, oh, you don't need to do that. You're going to put yourself in danger. No, but if I believe in something, I'm going to stand for that shit. You know what I mean? So I came out there by myself with Carolyn to defend all of that, you know? And that's why I feel wrong for that. You know, I feel wrong for that. You know what I mean? Because now the shit that I know, I'm like, what? I'm stuck in this twisted ass story. This is some shit like they play on an HBO special, dog.
Do you believe that a lot of people know he's guilty and they're still defending him?
Well, I think now if they grab this story or the stories they've heard or even the ones that in the past know some stuff and they don't want to tell nobody, you know, they got to speak up and they got to answer. Man, they got to live their truth, bro. They got to let this stuff out. Until you tell the truth, you'll never be free. You know what I mean? It's going to bother you. It's going to eat you up. And then for you to know things and still be out here to mislead people? Juan Gotti just came forward. He was playing the, you know, and this is another thing I want to tell the public because they got it mixed up. We were going to come forward with what we were going to say. And out of nowhere, Gotti didn't know this. You know what I mean? Right when we were going to come forward and say what we were going to say, we were going to put it all out there. The same day, Gotti comes out with, they found SPM dead in a cell. So we're like, what? You know, I woke up to this shit, man. I got a bunch of notifications. I woke up and looked at my phone and I'm like, what the? This is some weird shit. Is he really dead? I hit his sister up. I hit everybody and they're like, he just got on the phone with us. So I'm like, why would Gotti do something like that? But his thing was, you know, Carolyn and him had said that people will believe anything you tell them. And he tried to use that as an example to see if people that would believe that he's dead. But you got to understand that the internet moves fast these days. It's not no back in the day shit, you know? So they debunked that bullshit fast. He came on and said something, you know, I'm still alive, blah, blah, blah. You know what I mean? So by him doing that and us speaking up, we're like, man, this is going to throw our shit for a spin. You know what I mean? And it did. It did because people didn't know what to believe. So now they're putting me with him like we just come up with this crazy story and all this, like me and him planned this out or something. But I ain't have shit to do with Gotti. That's his own crazy shit going on, you know? But I had a long talk with him, man. And I said, bro, listen, you're a true leader, man. You know, you influence people out here, the Mexicans. There was a kid in Mexico that tattooed Juan Gotti full face with tattoos and everything on the back of his head. I said, do you think that guy tattooed your face on the back of his head because you're a peon? No. You're a leader to these people. So when you lead these people on this goofball ass shit that you're doing right now, you know, oh, I'm not going to do this, or oh, I'm going to start my own record label, or oh, I ain't with SPM, but oh, I'm going to be part of the Day of Unity. I said, you got to stop doing it to these fans. You owe it. You owe it. If you know what you know, whatever, because I guess he knows some other shit, right? And that's his story to tell again. But if you know what you know, and you out here misleading these people, that makes you a coward. He didn't like when I told him that. And I said, and that makes you, you know, that makes you a leader that is deceiving his people. You know what I mean? After you know the truth, right? So you need to come clean. And he goes, but bro, how do I do that? How do I do that? I don't know how to do that. And I said, you got to do it from heart, man, if you're a true leader out here. You know what I mean? And in the morning, he posted another post, and it was like one of those subliminal posts, like a weird post that you could grab that shit and run 10 ways with that, and people wouldn't understand what you're saying. He did that a couple times. And when he said something about, if it's a hater out here, then swing on him or whatever. So I'm like, is that towards me? Like, everybody calling me a hater because I'm speaking up on SPM. So now I'm going to walk in public, somebody going to swing on me now, right? I said, you got to be a little bit more transparent with these people, what you're saying. And when he did it the day after I told him that shit, I went in the comments and I said, be transparent with these people. Because if not, they don't know what they're talking about. And he broke it down. And I screenshotted that and I put it on my page. You know, and he broke it down. People on this side, they believe this, and people on that side believes this. And I believe that I'm standing down. You know, I believe what they're accusing him for, that he's guilty. And I'm standing with my people. And so he finally had to draw the line right there. And I screenshotted it and I shared it on my page so people can know that finally somebody in the dope house got the balls to let the people know, man. You know? All of these guys got their own record labels now. They don't have to live on the dope house. You know? These guys got their own record labels, man, and I ain't got to call them out. They know what time it is, you know what I mean? But you don't have to restart from here. You know, you already got your shit going. Rock your brands, push your artists, do what you got to do, and keep eating. But stop deceiving my people right now. Stop deceiving your people. It's not right. And I try to tell some of them, and everybody rocking with me though. Everybody don't understand that they try to pick and choose what artists they rocking with because they ain't say nothing against them and they're in the shadows and all this. But what's done in the dark is gonna be brought to the light, bro. You know? And they knew I was gonna speak out. And don't think that they ain't cheering in the background. They happy that somebody's talking about the royalties. They're happy that somebody's bringing up that things need to be fair. You know, the contracts that were done back in the day, those are old contracts. We got streaming now, you know? Streaming's a big thing. It's not a physical copy no more. You know? And then there was no contracts back then. So people keep saying, oh, the contract. Juan Gotti got screwed over 100% on the No Set Trippin' album. And that's his biggest album, the one that got him a Latin Grammy, nominated for a Latin Grammy. You know what I'm saying? So, how much money, I asked Gotti, I said, how much money do you think that man owes you for that album? Put a number on it. What do you think it is? He goes, I know it's over $1 million for sure. Maybe 1.1 million by now. All these years, it's been like 20 years. You know what I mean? So he's using y'all's royalties to play you guys and keep you on the hook? And y'all want to follow that? And you're going to mislead your people for that? Because you waiting on your check, bro? Nah. It just don't sit right with me. You know what I mean? I'm a real leader. Houston, the city of Houston, the mayor, the city council, all of them, they stood with me and gave me my own day in Houston, May 13th. You know, so if I'm going to be about the people and I find out that I'm being deceived and you got me out here being a leader to this shit, I got to denounce that immediately. It ain't going to take me long. It's going to be this week. And then, boom, I dropped that shit because I had to, bro. That shit's eating me up inside. I can't sleep. It's been the worst, rough 2 weeks for me, bro. I can't sleep. I'm stressed out. I'm defending myself, going against all the crazy ass nuts. It don't matter what you tell the people out here. Them people still gonna ride with SPM. I'm like, bro, you guys are lunatics. And all of them got kids. That's the part that me up. You see, I got a daughter, right? And even my son throws it at me sometimes. Oh, man, you know, SPM's a pedophile, you know? After seeing the shit online. And I'm like, no, he ain't, man. You know what I mean? He's innocent. And they always believe different. So now that all this stuff's coming to light, I got to speak this for my kids, dog. For my family. So they don't think I'm a sicko for running with this guy like that. You know what I mean?
Okay, now I think you had mentioned he has a daughter that's been talking, or she has what does she think about the situations?
Well, I know she lost her job too. You know, and from what I hear, her daughter had to go to the hospital, the other day, or doctor or whatever, doctor's visit. She was sick, and they're broke right now because he cut her ass off, and some shit he was saying online himself. He said, "I'd rather stuff the wall with hundreds of $100 bills, stuff the wall with $100 bills before I give her another $100 bill." He said, "Her," and I got him recorded saying that shit. Her. I think he even said that bitch, just like that. And that didn't sit right with me, because you're saying the Day of Unity, this is about women empowerment. Some girls came down from that. You know, some girls came off the thing, they stepped down, because when he said he was going to do, they were all about the Day of Unity. But when he said that they were going to do women empowerment, they were like, "Oh no, this." He said he was going to go out and give, like, well, that they're going to give out roses to all the women, and all this is about women. You know, and that's some sick shit, man. That's some sick shit, man. He's living a twisted life, and he's playing everybody out here, dog. And it's a sick game, dog. It's a dirty game. I never knew it was this bad, but it's sick. You know? All these girls are coming off the roster on the Day of Unity. So he called on her to stand up with him and be a part of it. He was going to give her $1,200. And she said, "What is $1,200 going to do for me? I'm already behind on all my bills. I want 10 racks." You know? And, man, you know, I guess he ended up, I don't know if he gave her 10 racks or what, but she's back at the dope house now, and she's all happy as ever because she's good. You know? And there's more to that story, man, because right there, they told me some stuff. The aunt, his sister and her, basically, well, his sister mentioned it to me and said, well, I don't want to say what she said. I'm going to leave it at that, because that's her story, and I don't want to her story up, you know what I mean? But basically, she pretty much blackmailed him to get the job back, and I'm going to leave it at that. I'm not going to get into the story, but what she said.
What's going on with all these jobs at dope house? Like, are these like good paying jobs? Like, why does everybody want to work at dope house?
No, it's not that. It's okay. This is the way it is. All right. If you're a camera guy, right, and you come to the dope house, right? Some people are just fans at the end of the day, and they want to be part of the production. They want to be part of the rap. They want to rap. They want to be seen. You know, it's the entertainment business. So what he does is he sizes you up. Oh yeah. You know, he even does it to the big artists, Lil Kiki's and Slim Thug and Zeros and all these guys. He'll say, "Well, how much is it gonna cost to do this shit?" And they give him their price. And you know, he got the money. You know what I mean? So he'll be like, "All right, so that's what you're worth? Okay. I'm gonna give you a little bit extra." He always does that bullshit. "I'm gonna give you a little bit extra. You know, here you go. Go buy you a suit and do all this extra shit." You know what I mean? And same with the videographers, you know. "Oh, how much you charge?" "Oh, you charge $1,500, $2,500, $5,000, whatever it is." "Oh, I'm gonna give you extra $1,000, man." You know, so he's gonna buy you. You know, he's gonna buy that relationship. The new artists that ain't charging shit, but they're building a buzz. "Hey, how much you charge for a feature?" "Oh, I charge $500. "Oh, don't worry about it. I'm gonna give you a stack." You know what? And I want 10 songs, because he wants to own people's history. So that way, this is what I get out of it. If they ever blow up big and want to turn against him, he could say that they took his money. You know what I mean? That's what it's all about. "Well, you took my check." You know what I mean? Why stand up now?
How much money does SPM have?
Well, I haven't seen.
I mean, if you were gonna guess, without you know, watching his pocket too much, if you were gonna like multi-millionaire,
you gotta understand that this man has done multiple deals, not just on his records, but everyone's records, the Juan Gotti's and all the legends. This is a long list of legends, bro. You know, and besides the Dope House, he owns some other shit. From what I hear is he owns the Little Kiki album. That Little Kiki keeps asking him to sit at the table with him because he wants it back. And I didn't want to bring that up on this interview, you know, but I'm going to go ahead and say it like that. But there's a bunch of them, man. They got these cages, him and his brother, Arthur Coy, And he's not innocent either because he watched it all be done, and he played a big part in that. So I gotta call that man out. You know what I mean? It's called Hustle Town Distribution, and they got everybody's records in these cages. And so you go to the gas station. There's like 300 stores right now, and you're gonna see a whole collection of Texas legends and all their albums in it. You know, and a lot of these guys have never gotten paid, or if they did, they got a small ass check, and he owns the rights to this shit. So think about all of those royalties, all these years. Think about the record deals that he has with major corporations like Orchard and Sony and Universal and all this shit. He's not no little guy. So, and then for him to be streamed, I mean, he was saying last time that he got more numbers than Snoop Dogg. You know, he got more streams than Snoop Dogg because his loyal fan base. And he does shit like this to stir up the pot to where people start researching and looking him up, and he gets more streams and he becomes more powerful. You know, he just wants to be seen. And he'll pay whatever ticket. It's like Donald Trump. You know, his dad loaned him $1 million, but he told the newspaper to say, you know, tell him I'm a millionaire, that I got a lot of millions. You know what I mean? Make me bigger than what I am. And that's the shit he does, man.
So SPM right now has 1,168,248 monthly listeners. I mean, the biggest song looks like it is "I Must Be High."
Right.
That's just what I'm seeing. Is most popular one.
Right.
Mexican radio.
Yeah, that was a big one.
77 million. And you know, this album. When did that album come out? With "I Must Be High" and Mexican radio.
You know what album it came out on? We couldn't even say. Yeah.
Early 2000s?
Early 2000s? Had to be early 2000s, right?
Late 90s.
Late 90s.
So this stuff came out way before.
Yeah, when he was in the free world.
You know what I'm saying? Way before Spotify, YouTube, all that. So these crazy numbers that he has on all these streaming platforms, this isn't even a fraction of how high his numbers would really be if the streaming services existed back when this stuff came out. So I mean, this dude, he's
and
huge.
all the product money too. All the product money, the T-shirts, the towels, the hoodies, the beanies, the socks, bro, everything, DVDs and CDs and all of that shit, man. This guy's gotten rich. Some of the weekends they were making $20,000 to $40,000 at a flea market. Just in one weekend. Think about that.
I remember when we were selling CDs, everybody would sell their CDs for like $3 to $5 to the CD store.
He wasn't doing that.
SPM CDs
$15.99,
were like
$17.99,
$8 or $9 that he would sell to the CD stores.
Well, the time I've been in there for 15 years, I could tell you that's bullshit.
Not what the CD store was selling them for.
Okay.
What Dope House was selling them to the CD store.
Okay, so
the wholesale.
No. Okay, so their wholesale was always $10 to $11. They got the max. They always got the max. You want this music, you're gonna pay for it, and you gotta go sell it for $17.99, $19.99.
The artist got one.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, his music always sold for more than everybody else.
Exactly.
That's a fact.
And they kept that value for a long time, and that's how they got rich.
Now that he's been in jail, had any problems since he's been in jail? Like, you know, anybody tried to attack him?
I think he's in PC. I don't know. He's PC'd. I don't know what is a protective custody. That's what that shit means. You know what I mean? So he's he ain't getting out. He's in his little box, bro. So I have never heard of him getting any fights, and I know if he's gotten in trouble over the phone, and he has gotten in fights. That they just say he has gotten in fights. Me personally, I don't know any of this shit. You know what I mean?
Now we've been hearing about him getting out of prison, supposedly here pretty soon. It's been the rumor.
Yeah, parole.
You guys know anything about that?
They said parole.
Yeah.
But let me tell you about that real quick, man. From what other prisoners have told me recently, they say, first of all, you have to admit your guilt, and you got to be a changed man, right? So just on that right there, you ain't coming out, bro. But what he's doing is he's stirring up the pot to make everybody hyped up out here to believe this bullshit, you know? And so he get more streams and hype up the thing and, do all that kind of shit, stand for SPM and...
Can't fool TDC.
Yeah, but you can't fool TDC. You can fool the people out here, but you ain't gonna fool TDC. They're hearing all your recordings, your business dealings, and all the shit you're doing in there. The manipulative ways, the way you treat your people, the way you treat your family, it's insane, man. It's sick. It's really sick.
How's he able to run a business from behind bars?
The phone.
Tablet.
He got a tablet. Oh, he got a tablet now. He got a little tablet now, so he could, I don't know, he does emails and calls and shit like this, you know what I mean? But I'm going to get more in depth on that, but that's going to be on someone else's podcast, okay? Because I still want to leave a little bit, because I know after this interview, he's going to say what he's going to say, and I'm going to have to come back harder. And when I come out with that, that's really going to just shut it all down, you know what I mean? And that's what that is, man. And one of my friends, I don't want to mention his name because he don't want to be a part of nothing, but he asked me, you guys are speaking up right now, and it's a great thing because you guys ain't trying to mislead anyone no more. What is your end result? Like, what are you trying to get out of this? Or when are you going to call it? When are you going to say, okay, that's it. I did it and I'm moving forward, right? And that was a great question. And I won't be happy until this man publicly speaks to everyone and let them know that they have been deceived by him. He has to throw himself at the mercy of the fans, the mercy at all of these leaders that he's been lying to all these years. He has to say he really truly apologizes. And that day of unity shit, that shit gotta go, because the only day of unity there's gonna be is the one when people stand up for the public, for the people that have been done wrong, like the little girls. And until you can do that, until you can turn the lights off at the dope house that's never been done, I won't be happy. I won't feel like I've done anything. So you got to come publicly and you got to speak your truth to these people that they've been deceived, and let them know from your own mouth, so they can stop attacking all of us when we speak up. Because how do you expect people to speak up and speak their truth if y'all are gonna bash them? You know what I mean? There's some other podcasters calling me right now. I got a few people on the line. Really, we got some of the most influential podcasters, the biggest podcasters in the hip hop industry right now calling me, and they want to know what the hell's going on. And I would like to go on all of their podcasts and give them a little bit here and there, but I feel like I gave you a lot today. You know what I mean? I cleared the air.
Yeah, we definitely learned a lot, for sure.
Right. And, one thing I do want to say to the fans that have been misled, I didn't know. But if I did know, I would never lead some shit like that, man. You know what I mean? It's a sick, twisted game. And he thinks he's going to make a documentary and a movie, and everybody, CNN's trying to pay him and all this shit. And they're trying to set it up if he comes out. Or maybe that's just the hype they're trying to lead people to believe. But at the end of the day, if this story don't go down as the most sickest, stupidest, most leading, narcissist documentary you ever heard in your life, then it's bullshit. And I'm going to put it out there like that. If you ever thought of me as a leader in that light, understand what I'm telling you, and you take my truth and you run with that shit. Because if not, you're in denial. And the first thing to do is for the people to let go and understand that it's the truth, and live in your own truth with your families, your daughters, your wives, and all that. And let it go, and don't play that shit no more. If y'all want to go in on Diddy and R. Kelly and all these Epstein and all this, you put him with that category, and don't ever stand behind that man. And I'm speaking to the leaders. I'm speaking to the promoters. Let's knock that old raggedy ass dope house down and rebuild something bigger than any of it, something that really touches the community and really is for the community, without all that dirty ass shit. You know what I mean? That's how I feel.
I hear you, man. Can you give the people a little bit of backstory on you? You know, where you're from, where you grew up, what it was like for you, for the people who might not know?
Uh, I mean, I'm from Houston, but you know, there's not a specific side. Mostly on the north side, but I got a lot of family on the southeast side of Houston as well. So, um, growing up, my parents ended up going to prison, basically. You know, for like basically drug deals and shit. You know what I mean? So, uh, I went through a lot of foster homes, group homes, shit like that, and that put me everywhere in Houston. You know what I mean? I've lived all over shelters, group homes, foster homes. Uh, you know, wherever, you know, it would end here, we'd go somewhere else. You know, uh, at a certain point in my life, well, it took a long time, but some of my relatives stepped in and actually adopted me and my brother, my brother Joseph. But um, there's a lot of us. I think there's like 9 of us, and I think there's a few others as well. But for the most part, all of us, well, not all of us, most of us got taken away and put in CPS, which is Child Protective Service over here. And I think 2 of them pretty much didn't have to go through that. They had their dad that pretty much took them in, you know, when all this happened. But I just remember, it's crazy because I can remember as far as when I was 4 years old. And I just know that my dad was already in prison, and my mom was trying to like pay the bills and shit. And she had a late night job, and so she would work at like at a pancake house, like a IHOP or some shit like this. I think Denny's or IHOP, but I think it's IHOP, you know. But because she used to bring us them plates, uh, but uh, but all I remember is one night she says that she told somebody to watch over us from downstairs just to keep an eye out for us. And but somebody called the cops, and I just remember them coming upstairs and running through the apartments, and they started banging on the door. And my little brothers and sisters, they were sleeping, and me, I didn't know what the hell to do. So I pretty much ran under the sink. I remember running under the sink, and I like closed the cabinet behind me. But so when they ran in the house, they went and got my brothers and sisters, man, and I tried to be quiet in there, but I ended up crying in there, and they heard me. So they pulled me out they pulled me out the cabinets, and that's when I remember that they took us all in custody, and we all went our own ways. It was crazy.
Damn, how old were you when this happened?
I was I was 4. I was 4 years old. Yeah, it's crazy. But later on in life, my probably maybe when I was like 12, my aunt stepped up from Chicago, and it's the suburbs out there or whatever. But she came through. They were well established. They had grocery stores and restaurants. They had a chain of supermarkets and shit. So they, you know, that was my dad's sister, and they took us in, but we were crazy as hell because you know we went through that rough life, so we were doing bad shit. And after like I don't even think we lasted like a year over there with that, but they ended up sending us back because we were shit up. Well, you know, we were at that teenage time where we were bucking the system. You know what I mean? But we didn't like the way we were treated because we were treated unfair. Like, you know, y'all say y'all got this love for us, but your kids get brand new Jordans, brand new, you know, jackets, all the video games, all this kind of shit. And they put us in a store to work our ass so we could get some no name brand shit. You know what I mean? And so for that reason, we just bucked the system. Shit, we're like, we're not gonna get paid. You know, we're gonna go take some shit from the store, and we're gonna do this and we're gonna do that, and you know, it was just a shit show. You know, so we ended up getting sent back. Later on, when my dad got out of jail, um, I had ran away from one of these foster homes. I didn't know that he was out of jail, but I ran. My uncles came 3 of my uncles came to visit us on Christmas out of nowhere, and we didn't know any of the family. But when they came to visit us, they all lived in Houston. They had migrated from Chicago over here. And when they came and showed up for us, it was crazy because we had never met them. They brought us all this stuff, but one of my uncles, my Uncle Loopy, he says, here, this is my number. If you ever need me, give me a call. And one day, I just ran away, dude. Like, I busted through the doors and shit because they had, like, concrete shit behind it and all that. And I knew I had to push it real hard to jump the fence and all that. So I took off, you know, because all my life I've been like, there's got to be something more to living in this shit, you know what I mean? And I jumped out there blind, dude. Like, I jumped out there. I jumped out there straight to be homeless, basically, you know what I mean? And that's when the real life shit hit, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I hear you, man. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, but you ended up starting to do music and getting into the music game.
Well, I ended up going to Chicago, you know, so like I can't forget that part. I ended up going to Chicago, and my uncle said, man, it's time for you to take you to your dad. And he drove me all the way up to Chicago, and that's when I got to really meet him for who he is, like, you know, actually in person for a while, because the only times I had seen him was when my aunt took us to go see him in jail, you know what I mean? He was in Joliet, Illinois, and yeah, he was a real gangster, dog. He was a Latin king. He was a big time Latin king. He protected the biggest Latin kings in Chicago, which is like Baby King and Lord Gino, and you know, so that should tell you a little bit about him, that he was that guy. You know, he didn't give a shit. But yeah, so I finally got to see him and you know, live with him and experience that. You know, but that ended up, you know, at that age, I was partying and skipping school and doing all kinds of crazy shit with the motherfuckers in the hood, you know what I mean? And, you know, my uncle would snitch me out. My Uncle Victor would snitch me out when the school would call, and then I get my ass beat and shit like this. And I wasn't used to that. Like, I was like, hold on, bro, you beat my ass. You don't even know me like that. You know what I mean? So that made me run away and like, 13, I already had my own job and shit. You know what I mean? Like, by the time he found me, I already had an apartment. I was 13 years old, dude. I had an apartment, furniture in there. I was getting checks, you know, from working. You know, I had to lie my name just to even work. It was crazy, dude. Like, I did a lot at a young age, but that's what made me the young OG that I was at a certain age. Like, people who looked up to me. I did a lot of crazy shit because I was the smallest guy. You know, it's like what they call the peewees, you know what I mean? Like the shorties, you know, I was the skinny guy that they would say, oh, he ain't gonna do shit. But so that made me want to do more than anybody, like to prove myself. Like, I'm gonna do more than all you because y'all ain't shit, you know? And I did that. But at one point, I was living in the city of Chicago, and man, we would do all kinds of crazy shit, man. I survived a lot of shit, but I did a lot of crazy shit. Just put it that way. But one time I got locked up, man, and the OGs in jail were saying, you know, I was in Cook County out there, and they were like, you know, just tell the judge that you're gonna change your life, and that you're gonna move back to Houston. And, you know, you'll be all right. And it worked out, you know. You know, came back to Houston, and then I was good, but I was still acting crazy over here. But, you know, after learning all that I learned, I was really telling other people, man, shit, man, because in Chicago, like, when I used to walk out my house, I used to look back and forward. Like, it was either the gangsters or the rivals or whatever, or it was the undercover cops, the police officers. There was a lady, like, her name was La Chilanga, and she would stand on the street and she would all the gangsters up, you know. And you know, I went through all that shit, man, you know what I mean? But, you know, I'm glad I got the out of there when I did, because a lot of them ended up in prison or in jail, you know, or dead. Some of them guys ended up dead, and and then their children take on this shit. It's crazy, man. But I did a lot, just put it that way. I came to Houston, and I lived with the twins. They're like my boys, basically when I didn't have nowhere to stay, they'd open the window and let me in that mother. And one of them, I used to tell them, man, like, you guys are crash dummies, bro. You got to calm down. Like, you over here doing this shit, the other one doing that. But they were crazy mother. And one of them ended up dying. One of them ended up going to prison. You know what I'm saying? And then the other one, Bigfoot, he was a giant, he ended up going to the army. It's crazy. And them twins, they would love to rap. And that's how I caught the love for the rap shit, because they used to like the freestyle, with the H-Town shit, jam the Screwed Up Click and the Swisher House and all that. And so yeah, that's when I found the love. Hey man, everybody in H-Town freestyles, you know what I mean? Throw a beat on, but they loved it for real. Like, they would rap over songs and all kinds of shit. It kind of get annoying. I'd be like, man, shut up already, you know what I mean? But finally, I met my boy Steven's side, and he was a kid. He was young. Well, their uncle, his name was Don. They would call him Uncle Don. And I used to sell weed back then, and he used to come by my crib because he knew I had the weed. He'd get off work and he'd come by, and I'd tell him, roll that shit up. I have a big old fruit bowl of weed and just like roll it up, And one day, I finally went to his house, like, man, let me go see if he's over there to smoke. And I went to his house, and he wasn't there. And the person that opened the door was Papa Smurf. He's a H-Town legend out here, you know what I mean? So, but I didn't know him. And he's like, oh man, Uncle Don's at work, come back later. And I'm like, I walked away, but then I said, hold on, man, do you smoke? And he was like, yeah. So they invited me in the house. And these are the nephews of the Swisher House, like Lester Roy and Archie Lee. They're the ones who created the Swisher House, you know what I mean? Like, one of them came up with the brand of the Swisher House, like the drawing and all this shit, and the selling T-shirts. And the other one was the one who was the first to say Swisher House, because it was called Swisher Mix back in the day. So I was tripping that I was just there with their family, and that's when the streets were hot. But the H-Town streets, it wasn't all over the world. Like, people didn't know, anybody's face because it was drawn on the CD cover. Like, people, like Paul Wall, nobody knew that Paul Wall was a white guy from the neighborhood, you know what I mean? They thought he was a black dude rapping and screwed up and all this, you know what I mean? So I got in the mix with these guys, and I remember one day I went to the gas station, and I said, I'm gonna be back, man. I'm gonna get some shit from the gas station. I'm gonna go wash my car. And one of these guys approached me at the car wash, and he had a trunk full of bootleg CDs, you know what I mean? And back then, I'm like, you got what? And he said, I got Too Short, I got Snoop Dogg, I got Bone Thugs and Harmony, I got all the shit you like, and I spent like $60 with this dude. Like, man, hell yeah, I got all the new shit, you know what I mean? I mean, all the classics that I love, because I done bought them records like a million times, But I grabbed all the shit I loved, and I went back to the studio where they were at, and I said, look, man, I came up, I got all the hits. And he looked at me like, how much you spent on that shit again? And I said, like $60. And he goes, man, you got ripped off. We could have bought a whole 100-pack. You know what I mean? And that clicked a little light bulb in my head, like, damn, I could really, he was like, you get a 100-pack for like $15. So that, to me is like money. That's like, man, okay, well shit, do the math, that's $500. And all I gotta put in is $20. But the dude said, listen, I'm gonna make you a mixtape. I'm gonna chop it up, put some new songs, I'm gonna put the Swish House members on there, I'm gonna put some underground artists, and we're gonna make you a mixtape. And I had never done this shit before. I said, well, how much? He said $150. So I broke him the $150. And it was dope. And then he said, the next step is you gotta buy artwork. So then I went to the homie and we bought the artwork. It was like $250 back then. You know, now you get the shit for like 50, 60 bucks. But I pressed up these CDs, man, and they showed me the ropes. They said, you got to get out there. And me, I was a hustler, so I went out there and I went to all those shopping centers, man. I went to the mall. I would jump on the bus. I would go everywhere. But my goal was to make that 500 bucks before I came home so I could pay my bills and take care of my shit, you know? So after I did that so many times, I started hearing all the homies in the hood, like, you know, people passing by jamming the mixtapes. You know, I'm like, damn, this shit out here, you know? People like, hey, man, I heard myself at the gas station. You know, like, it was an exciting thing. Like, this is dope. And the crazy thing is the people I had on there, they were kind of separate groups. And some of them didn't agree for these guys to be on there. And me, I was like, that. I'm bringing everybody together. So I brought a lot of people together. And now, all these years later, we created this huge family. You know what I mean? From that. So now everybody's big and, you know, everybody's together. And it's a wonderful thing. That's how I got into music, though. And my first road trip was with Break Yourself Records. And that's when the Swisher House had pretty much broke up. And, you know, like because there's a lot of OGs the world don't know. You know what I mean? Like, people think Paul Wall, Chamillionaire, Slim Thug, Mike Jones. They think that's the Swisher House. But there was the foundation. 50-50 Twin, Big Pick, Big Tight, a Blind Side, Al Bowden, bro, there's a long roster, you know what I mean? And those are the guys we was around, and we pushed that history, man. And I went on my first road trip, and it was funny as hell because I was used to pressing them up how I pressed them up, and I came out not even with the CDs in a box. I had them in a garbage bag, and when they came to pick us up, I come out there with this big ass garbage bag, and he's like, "What is that?" You know what I mean? And I'm like, "These are all my mixtapes I'm taking with me." "Oh, we don't do that, man. You got to sell our shit." Like, you know what I mean? And I said, "Let me tell you something. I'm going to sell all of my shit, and I'm going to sell all of your shit." And he looked at me and he goes, "All right, we're going to try this out." And sure enough, I went out there and I sold all of my shit. I sold all of their shit. And we went all around Texas for the first time. And after that trip, he invited me. He says, you're welcome to join us whenever the hell you want. You know what I mean? We're down to take you wherever. And what happened was my second road trip, I ended up with Agony Life. And he's like an OG. He was one of the real road warriors out here that really took shit. And he would go through the South. You know what I mean? Like where Slim Thug would drop all this shit, Agony Life would come through there. They'd hit each other up with where the stores was at and all this kind of shit. And so I went on the road with him and I sold a lot of records with him and DVDs and shit like that. And, you know, he was a real entrepreneur that would brand all kind of stuff. So I learned a lot of stuff with him. And he told me, come on the road whenever you want. You're welcome to come whenever you want. And so I rode with him for about 7-8 years.
Okay, well, man, I appreciate you coming on here, speaking your truth, telling everybody, your side of the story. And I know it's hard, to come out there and say you were wrong and, try to right your wrongs, man. It's not something everybody can do, man. So I definitely appreciate that, man. Because nobody's from Cali. Right. Us dudes from Cali, man, we've been yelling like, yo, this fool's up, like this shit ain't right, man. And, you know what I'm saying? And we see a lot of Texas dudes still back in SPM, man. And
I just want to let everybody know, man, I threw myself on the fire for all of y'all. And it's not about clout chasing because I was gonna be the event coordinator. If I wanted to continue living that bullshit, I'll take the check. And I'll be right there DJing and getting everybody up in there. But I said, you know what? This gotta stop right now. Right now that I just learned this crazy shit, I'm good, bro. I'm disconnected. And I told everybody, I told all my brothers, I said, this is the truth that's surfacing right now, and you need to get out now and be a true leader that you guys are. And I stand on that, bro. But I'll be damned if you people make a mockery of me. I'll be damned. But I did throw myself in that fire, and nobody else did. Just like I backed him when Capone and everybody came at him. I was the only one who stood in that fire. And everybody could testify to that. you know? And to me, man, this Cali, Texas shit, that shit gotta stop. The hateful shit. We all the same people, man. I remember going 10 years ago to Cali, and nobody was on that kind of shit. They loved us, bro. They invited us with open arms. And we need to repair those relationships. And we need to turn the future around into a better direction.
I hear that, man. Well, that's what it is. Mo Hustle, man. I appreciate you taking the time, you know, sharing your story, man. It was dope story, dope experience, man. You know, and I guess we'll just, you know, wait to see what happens when this comes out. That's
right,
what it
man.
is.
And I do want to
you, bro.
bring forward Fileto, one of the producers right there, because he got his own story, and I would love for you to interview him. And also I Am Lopez, man, because she's one of the hottest that I've seen all over the country, and I travel everywhere, and I've never seen a Mexican rapper, a female rapper, that just demands respect and demands that check. And she gives that energy, bro. And whatever people are hearing online, if you take it in, it's dope as. If you hate it just because you love South Park Mexican, do whatever you do. But don't torture this woman, because she's a wonderful woman. And she has 4 kids. She has 3 kids and one that she took in. You know, and she's a great woman. And people need to stop bashing her over some South Park Mexican shit. And I feel like, thank God, she only lasted over there 3 weeks before all this happened. All this shit exposed itself. And I feel like she's going to be like the next Mexican OT. Because you never seen something like her. And really, I feel like, and I'm probably 100% sure that she goes harder than Mexican OT, because what she brings to the table is not just the energy. She brings the Mexican shit too. And when you speak that Mexican shit, you're speaking, bam, you're like, it ain't sit down, it's siéntate. You know what I mean? Sit your mother ass down with one word. And when you hear this girl go off, she's chopping necks off, bro. She's killing everybody. The last one I seen like that was Snow the Product in the early days. And not saying she don't go hard now, because Snow the Product's the truth. I got much love for her.
What's up? This is Cam Capone. We got more content like this coming soon. So hit that like button, subscribe, and stay locked in to Cam Capone News.